Very, very nice looking figure. It's very stylized, but I think it's quite interesting. I quite like that. Hello, this is BJ from Hearns Hobbies, and today I'm going to be looking at this rather interesting kit. This is the Bandai Figurized Standard Amplified kit of Batman. And as you can see, I mean, it's got quite a stylized appearance, and his armor is quite reminiscent of, I guess, a mech. So let's have a closer look at the box, and then we'll have a look inside. Okay, so from the overhead camera, you can see the artwork. It's quite interesting, very dynamic. You can see all this armor, quite faceted, and this looks quite Gundam-ish, which is great because I guess they've used all of their know-how into making the joints and overall look and the posability fantastic, just as Bandai are famous for. Okay, so we've got a list of all the parts here. This is a legend or photograph of all the different sprue. You've got this very heroic type of pose there. And then on this side, we've got more indication of what sort of posing is available. You've got this cape, which is quite jagged and angular, and it can be folded out or folded, stowed away on his back. Okay, let's have a look inside and see what we're going to get. All right, so we've got a big box. You see it's quite a thick box there, a lot of sprue inside. Let's have a look at each individual one and see what it all includes. Okay, so here's our first bag. All right, there's 3 sprue in here. You've got a section of gold as well. Okay, so just like any other Bandai kit, they're all color separated, so there's no need to actually paint the components. You'll notice that these don't have much gloss on them. They've actually been designed to have a matte finish, which is what you expect Batman to have. You don't want him glistening in the dark as he's trying to sneak up on you like a ninja. It needs to be all matte, and they've done that really well with this finish. Okay, so you've got the black components here, and as you can see, they're identical. These are the leg components. You can see a foot here. You've got lower legs. These will probably be along the sides. And you have varieties of joints here as well. So there's some ball joints here. And then on this side, there's some colored parts in gold. This is the gold, which is like that semi-transparent gold, which I actually quite like. Some people don't like it because they think it looks a bit too transparent, too plasticky. But I think it actually looks pretty good. This is highly polished. You can see the difference in the reflectability of this particular plastic compared to this one here. And quite a lot of this is used around the waist of Batman. Okay, so his utility belt and such. Okay, let's pop those aside. Okay, another bag here. Okay, so here's a smaller bag. And in here, what have we got here? So this would be, well, they're probably legs, I'm guessing. Okay, again, you've got 2 sprue which are identical. You've got this here, which looks like the knee component. I'll check that in the instructions as I go through it. That could be the thighs, huge ball joints. Okay, so you can imagine just how much posability you're going to be getting with these. Again, they're in their matte black type finish, which is quite clever. Okay, that looks very clean. All right, so now we move on to another bag. Okay, so this bag, it comes with grey components. Okay, so it looks like, what have we got here? These would be the thigh armor, I think. And you just see how angular it is with some organic components as well. It's got some curved parts. And this isn't totally matte, not like the black. This has got a semi-gloss finish to it. So there's a slight amount of sheen. You can see that as I move that around. Okay, grey components. And then our final bag here of sprue. Got multiple bits again. Okay, let's pop that over there. Okay, so we've got some more gold parts. Okay, again around the waist area. Got some really sharp details around here, which has like a venting type screen. Again, this is that semi-transparent gold effect, very highly polished, as you can see. Actually quite like the look of that. It'll look totally different if you painted it. Okay, the gold bits, and then we've got some of these bigger parts. So this particular sprue has got the quite famous multicolored segments. You've got grey components with matte black, and then flesh. So that's the very, very bottom of the chin on the face that you'll be able to see. And then there's a white component there as well. See over here, you've got the bat symbol. This is the helmet, just here. So top of the head, I guess. That was the shoulder pads. And then this will be chest area. And this is the insert where that particular black bat symbol is going to go. It's going to fit right into there. Okay, and then you've got your very last part. And this looks like parts of the cape. Okay, so you can see hinging points here where the cape's going to attach to, and it'll probably flip out. And then you can see here the forearms with the big spikes. And this will be framework for the cape as well. So the actual folding parts of the cape are quite thin, and they're molded in polypropylene, which I'll show you in just a moment. Okay, so that's all plastic bits, and we end up with these thin parts here. Okay, so these are parts of the actual moving cape. Polypropylene, so they're flexible, and they're very, very thin. And you see these cutouts, that's where they're going to be sandwiched within those parts I showed you earlier, which are the framework for the cape. Okay, so there's two bags there, two different shapes. All right, so from here, we've got the manual. All right, so we've got a pretty standard looking Bandai manual. Let's see if I'll zoom that in a bit easier to see. Let's get that focused properly. Okay. All right, so you get that nice box art on the front again. Okay, so obviously got your DC symbol there and your bat symbol, because that's all part of that franchise. And it's quite a unique looking Batman. All right, so as we open it up, you start to get into the assembly instructions. Okay, so it all folds out. So you really start from this side here. Okay, so we've got the legend here with all the diagrams of the sprue, and each one's numbered, so you know exactly where to find the right part as you're going through the instructions. And this is where the actual construction starts here. Okay, well actually this is some guides on how to actually cut parts and how to read some of these legends. And then this is the construction here. So you start with the head. So just a few components. You got the flesh section, which is attached to the white. So that white bit is actually for his eyes, which you'll see through the mask. And that's all sandwiched together. So two halves of the head. Then you start on the body. So you can see these are the folding hinge shoulder sections. So the shoulders actually flip forward. So you can actually have him sort of grasping onto things like that, not just far away like this, like an action figure. So you can see the shoulders there, that's getting sandwiched together. You've got the top of the shoulders, which I guess would be the top of the cape. Chest plate with the insert for the bat. And then you got it into the abdomen. So you got your chest section with abdomen. So this would be a ball joint allowing the flex. And from there we go onto the arm. So you build the right arm first. You see these joints here. So multi-joints for the elbow, and you can see that rotational joint from this point. And then you have the fist, which has got a ball joint in there. And you've got the forearms with the spikes. And then we go on to the left side, which is basically the same thing for the opposite side. And then the sub-assemblies that come together. So you have your chest section with the abdomen, your arms are attached. So they're just ball jointed, and then the head is ball jointed on as well. Got the shoulder pads going on. And then we start the legs. Okay, so this is the knee joint. So it's quite a sophisticated joint. It's double jointed, so you can have a very tight running pose with the legs fully folded. There's a front end, so I guess it's the armor plates that you put onto the knees. So you got that main leg part there, and then we start building the lower section. You got that polycap here, which will take the ball joint for the feet. Okay, and then again, you'll do the same thing for the other side. Right, from there we're going to flip this around. Okay, we go back to the artwork, but the construction continues right here. A little bit of color. So you have the waist, that's all built together, and then you have your final assembly here with all your sub-assemblies of the top section, which you built up earlier, with the waist and the legs attached. So that's pretty much a figure done, and then you go to the cape. So you have your main framework here, and then you've got the sections here which sandwich those polypropylene sheets, and they get pushed into place, and you end up with a folded up cape like this. Okay, so that's fully folded up and then fully extended, comes up like this. So they just rotate on some hinges just across here. And you can see some of the dynamic sort of posing you can do. So over here is like got the cape all hooked all the way around. And then he's got a sort of like a firing and ready to punch pose, which is really very nice. Over here we have a color guide. So if you want to paint it, this is a guide on mixing colors to get the right tone. So the main color is actually a very, very dark blue. So they ask you to mix midnight blue, 70%, with a bit of brown and a bit of white. And the gold is a mix of yellow and gold. So all very quite interesting. Okay, so that's actually a very, very nice looking figure. It's very stylized, but I think it's quite interesting. I quite like that. So that's the Bandai Figure Art Standard Amplified Batman from DC, and also from Bandai.